So, we're born. We're born into this river. We're born into pure instinct. No self-consciousness, no mentation. We reach out to others, we reach out to our mother. Laura's spoken about this period then that evolves between 2 and 3 years, when one can make a shift, an important formative event. Psychologists, and I would link this as a shift to Taurus, just in this subjective way I'm going to project our evolution subjectively here, as developing object constancy. We move from the instinctual in Aries to the consolidation of Taurus, and we try to develop a consistent self-object, which means Mummy, who we've always needed to be there all the time, can be internalized in part. And indeed, difficult Venus Cancer aspects, like in the example Laura was using in her dispositor chart, Zach, clearly show the lack of that stage, the lack of being able to do that. You know, we're lost without her. Here we develop language skills, we mimic. Geminis mimic. My little nephew mimics, you know. He points to the sky, goes airplane, I say, oh so seriously, helicopter. It's a helicopter man. I'm a bit dismissive. Suddenly, 20 seconds later, he's using the word helicopter. He's 18 months old. He's pointing to another child going, helicopter, helicopter. We're learning, we mimic, we're developing an emotional body at Cancer, developing a consistent self-image, an ego, a way of relating to the world on a moment-by-moment basis. And in Leo, we desire to expand that to its fulcrum, the highest level of creative self-actualization possible, in our subjective self. And then we're going to turn it round in Virgo. In Leo, there is a pyramid reality structure. Life is perceived as a triangle of consciousness, in which I try to achieve the top position, and I articulate divisions and structures from that point. We can clearly see this in the way the Pluto and Leo generation occupies the world at times. In Virgo, the first aspect of the crisis is the inherent inconjunct between Virgo and the ascendant at birth. The first aspect of the crisis is the subjective self having the pyramid topple. I am no longer the most important person here, and that freaks me out. The complete turnaround. In Leo, you are the master, the king, the top. In Virgo, you're suddenly the servant, the slave, the one right at the bottom. So the first aspect, the first phase in conjunct. See, all the signs in this archetypal wheel explain phases, aspects, everything. Understanding the archetypal wheel, you can understand the whole of evolutionary astrology, essentially. You know, a new phase conjunction here is instinctual. A square, a crisis in action. Here in the Virgo inconjunct, we have a crisis around the subjective will. How do I deal with the fact that I'm not the most important person in the world? And that's quite shocking, isn't it? You know, we all want to be, don't we? Somewhere in our fantasies, growing up, it all revolves around us. I remember as a Pluto Virgo 9th house with a South Node Leo 8th house, when I was growing up as a teenager, apart from my consistent Robin Hood fantasy and series of dreams, I had Pluto in the 9th, square Mars in the 12th in Sag, actually. You know, it was the whole robbing from the rich, giving to the poor, and using a funky bow and arrow at the same time. But I also ran this slightly more disturbing fantasy about the girl next door. In this slightly more disturbing fantasy, I would arrive in this long coat that I was wearing at the time, you know, reading my Catcher in the Rye and Sartre, and a bit fucked up, really. And like, I'd be talking to her on the doorstep. I'd just be going, hi, nice to see you again, you know. Shucks, you know. Yeah. And really, there'd just be like this little patch of blood, you know, on my shirt. Because I'd have been out in this heroic battle. I'd have saved someone, you know. But I got a stab wound, man, you know. And after a while, she'd be going, oh, it's really great to talk to you, but I notice you're bleeding, Mark. You know, what's going on? I want to take care of you. I I want to help you out, you know? Yeah? This is a South Node Leo fantasy coming through the Virgo kind of dynamic, you know? I had to be, even for her to like me, I had to have done this special thing. I had to have saved. And I was on the back foot. And she would rescue and take care, you know? What a blag. She wasn't even that nice. Horrible, snobby little posh girl, honestly. She moved to Europe with her parents, you know, and skied, and I don't know. She was... So Virgo, the humiliation of the subjective self. We have to knock ourselves down. We have to come off the pedestal. It's not okay to be there anymore. It's not useful in evolutionary terms to be on that pedestal. Now, why? Why humiliate ourselves? Because we want to undo the overextension of Leo, so that when we meet the descendant in Libra, we can have the capacity to be on equal terms with other people.